Africa's mineral wealth can help save the world from climate change, but who will save Africans from the riches under their homes, their farms, and their feet? As the world focuses on the climate crisis at COP29 in Baku, Africa's place as a global leader in the fight against our warming planet is once again in the spotlight. Leaders from right across Africa are in Azerbaijan for the UN's annual climate conference. Up for discussion is the continent's role in helping the world move away from polluting fossil fuels like coal and gas to more sustainable energy sources. But it's a transition that also throws up many challenges for African nations, with the rush for resources needed for green technologies open to corruption and the exploitation of communities. More on that in a moment, but first let's hear from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General of the World Trade Organization, who's at COP29. She's outlined how some countries could benefit from the switch to green energy, the so-called green comparative advantage. Let's listen.
Climate change may result in some parts of the world having what we call a green comparative advantage. If they have solar power, for instance, if they are drier and have solar power, they can develop green electricity, and that could give them an advantage that they didn't have before. And they can trade this green electricity, or they can manufacture products based on green, clean electricity, like batteries, photovoltaic cells, solar panels. So it could give them a green comparative advantage. So instead of it being a challenge, it becomes an opportunity and changes the nature of trade.
The green transition is certainly changing the nature of trade in Ngozi's home country, Nigeria. It has huge mineral resources, including ores of key elements like lithium and tin, needed to produce the rechargeable batteries that will power the energy transition. But Nigeria is also dealing with a massive mineral rush involving the unregulated extraction of minerals. So-called artisanal mining of metals and rare earths has surged, and it's costing the government more than an estimated $10 billion annually in lost revenue. And that's just the financial cost. The sector is also widely known to employ children who often work in hazardous conditions, not to mention the destruction of the environment and farmland. In Nigeria, DW correspondents Oke Emery and Olisa Chukwuma got exclusive access to unregulated tin and lithium mining operations. We begin in central Nigeria in Jos with our correspondent Oke Emery.
This used to be farmland, but now it looks like a moonscape. Workers tear up the soil looking for tin. It's just beneath the surface at this unregulated mine. We are here with the permission of the site boss. He allows us to film in this direction, but not what's behind us. What we can't show you is a stream polluted by mining waste. The miners dig with shovels and their bare hands, risking cuts and falls. Many are children who spend hours under the hot sun. Some tell us that they take drugs to get through the day. The boss keeps a close eye as the camera rolls.
We're here to get tin, which we take to the buyers, together with my boss. After we collect the money, my boss gives me my share, and I take some home to buy food and keep the rest for myself. In the morning, I come back here to work.
Behind me is a dangerous reality, and that of unregulated mining in northern Nigeria, where we have miners as young as 13 years of age who are risking their health to make some money. The kids make around 10 euros per kilo a day. It's a good wage, but it's illegal for them to be working. There's no government oversight on child labor or official data on accidents at unregulated mines. But recent deaths at mining sites around the country have brought the dangers to national attention. In Nigeria, poverty is the major factor that pushes many to take the risk of working in these mines. On the western side of the country, We visited another rural town, Bani, where the lithium business is booming. Here at the town market, lithium from nearby unregulated mines is sold openly.
So they just bring it now, so they need to sort it very well before transloading it to sack.
These young men help process, sort and prepare the stones for transportation. 50 kilos of lithium cost about 140 euros. They sell tons of it here. Big profits for those running the operation. But the government doesn't see any revenue. It is an industry that's ripe for corruption. This truck driver has a long haul ahead, but says he faces little scrutiny on the road.
Nothing happens to the lithium we're transporting. Nobody stops us apart from the police, who stop us when we see them. They ask questions and we give them something.
Environmental journalist Dare Akogun investigates unregulated mining. He has faced threats for trying to expose the industry's problems. He says the government is being negligent and that mining in rural areas will have long-term consequences.
I believe that the more we talk about this thing, the more the government will also know that there is something that they are not doing. And the more government acts, then the better for the people and for the nation as a whole.
We reached out to the mining ministry on findings raised in this report, but did not get a response. Nigeria's parliament has recently vowed to eliminate unregulated sites for a safer and more profitable mining sector. But the reality on the ground tells a different story.
For more on Nigeria's unregulated trade in ores like lithium, we spoke earlier to environmental journalist Dare Akogun, who you just saw in that report. He's based in Ilorin, Kwara State, a region up until now that's largely been driven by farming. Just a few years ago, rich deposits of lithium ore were discovered there. I first asked him to paint a picture of what mining has done to the area.
Basically, what it has done is increase in insecurity and also degradation to farmlands, which has resulted into food insecurity in most of the refined. It's actually around the country, but in Kwara State, and Kwara has a large arable land, and most of the people are actually farmers. But in the last 3 years, according to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, Kwara State is one of the states that has high cost of food, which has also increased the level of poverty of the people in the area. So I can say lithium mining, both illegal or legal, has actually contributed to food shortages, increase in criminal activities, and also the degradation of the land.
How widespread is this trade beyond Kwara State and beyond the country? And what's happening to the farmers? Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Actually, Kwara State is one of the states that has large deposits of different minerals like gold, tin, ore, lithium, and other minerals that are scattered across the state. But recently, I think when we are growing up, we've always heard about mining, but it is not in large scale. There is a local name that is called here, it's called Kusa. But when I grew up, I later found out that Kusa is actually conzite lithium. So in the last few years, like 4 or 5 years ago, when foreigners, Chinese, Malayans, Nigerians, and others, big companies, with the advancement in technology, they can actually detect these minerals from the soil. So the mining started both legally and illegally. And I think it started with the legal one after obtaining licenses from government. Then, the communities also, they see that, okay, since they can find such in a nearby community, they start digging with, holes and any tools that they can lay their own on to dig. And, they started, taking these minerals outside of the ground. And, because it's largely unregulated, the sites are in hard-to-reach area, like mostly in the forest. So the people who actually have a field day, and the foreigners that have the money like largely the Chinese, because they have been seen around here most of the time, and some of them have actually been arrested. They give out money to the locals, buy plots or 2 plots or acres of land, for them to mine this, and they get quick money. So most of the farmers actually abandon their farmland to get these quick money, which they believe, will better their lot without, thinking about the consequences.
So they're changing their professions altogether. They're abandoning farming and getting into mining. Nigeria is seeing increased numbers of so-called artisanal miners. Are those the miners that you just referenced? Are they the locals that are simply taking advantage of the resources under the feet? Or is this a kind of gold rush attracting people from afar?
It's a collection of everything. Like we have here in Kuala State, the locals, they have been, farming on their land for ages, land they inherit from their fathers. They never knew that such things actually lies beneath the land. Now, the discovery is always done by, corporations, mining companies that, with their geolocation data and other technology, they can actually pinpoint areas where there are minerals. So as soon as the companies, move in, they always come in through the traditional rulers to inform them that, okay, they saw something on their land, or possibly some will come in the form of they want to establish a company in their community. And every traditional rulers actually wants development for his community. So didn't they hear that they offer them money and they say they will help them construct their roads, they'll provide water, and also employ locals of that community. So naturally, every traditional ruler would definitely love that. So immediately they start, when the locals, they engage them also naturally to help them dig out this thing, their machine, and also the tools. So when they start, and most of the people that have worked with this miner and they see what they are bringing out and how they can actually make money from this, they start their own kind of digging illegally, by engaging friends and family that, the guys, I'm working with so company and this is what we are doing, and I understand how to get this thing. I believe our land is actually blessed with this thing. Let us go to another site, definitely get this. So that's how artisanal mining actually started in most of these communities that you see. And when they started with the little knowledge of those people that have actually, worked with the mining companies before, they see it as their own way to make quick cash. And they recruit family, and the communities actually guard these things jealously. And also the mining companies too, as soon as they find out that there are artisanal mining going on around where they are, they just reach out to these people, provide them with money and capital, so that they will be the sole buyer of those minerals that they are bringing.
If I were to ask you who's behind the illegal trade, would you say it's largely the Chinese, which you mentioned?
Yeah, it's only them. For us not to be giving out false information, it's actually a network, but they are just the ringleader. Majorly, they are involved majorly, but there are also many people like the locals, like even politically exposed persons, like people in government, people in authorities, civil servants, private business owners. It's like a syndicate that has so many people that are benefiting from it one way or the other.
Where is the ore going? What countries are the primary buyers?
Oh, okay, China most especially. Then we have people from Mali. From my investigation, I saw that people from Mali, they take it to Mali. Burkina Faso, don't know, possibly they have foreign companies stations there. And also, there are also Nigerians that actually owns mining company outside of the country and also within the country. They also do buy, but majorly it's actually the Chinese that buy these minerals from available records that I have.
Dare, based on everything that you've said so far, I feel compelled to ask, is there effectively a lithium mafia calling the shots in a corrupt system, bankrolled to the tune of billions by foreign companies and individuals?
Yeah, I think you might not be wrong if you come to that conclusion, because from my findings and from the way they operate, it's kind of a mafia. You cannot just go in and you have to know someone that will introduce you to someone that has access to another person. So it's like a controlled trade, backed by organizations, very rich organizations, outside of the country. So if you say it's a kind of a mafia setup, we will not be wrong, because we have an incident where when I did a story about the bomb, when I first did a story, I actually received phone calls from unknown numbers, telling me that I'm actually disturbing their activities, that I should be very, very careful, that they know me, they can get to me and harm me, because my report is actually exposing their activities. So if you look at that, the way mafians also operate is actually closely related to that, because they know that they are doing something that is wrong, and you're talking about it, they'll definitely reach out to you that you should stay clear of their activities. And you'll be surprised that it's the locals, people in government, civil servants, that are actually giving the foreigners the opportunity to access this thing, possibly based on what they will get for themselves.
That's environmental journalist Dare Akogun. Many, many thanks for your time.